All right, we'll go with this. I pushed start by mistake, but that's all right. We will go with the flow here. I am ahead of the game, and we might get to that song too. This is the one. This is the one I've been listening to here of late. See, I hope you can hear. The air conditioning is on a little high, and my internet is still causing trouble. And anyway, the idea here today is to talk about taking every thought captive. Let me find this. Taking every thought captive. How are we doing? How are we doing? How are we doing? Do you know that you have an inalienable right that if you participate with Beta Rock Church, right now we got members of zero, okay? Today we might talk about my best friend Julie. Let's see what she said I could say here. She said this really nice thing. She said, what is she saying here? We've been talking. What did she say? Where's this? Introduce me as your best friend. Okay, well, good. She said, say we discuss controversial topics. I'm reading it right out what she said maybe 15 minutes ago. I am your best friend. Good. You can say I am honored about it. Okay, well, thanks. See, the most distinctive, well, let's go on with another thing. This is a biblical text. Let's center this a little bit better here. This is a biblical text, John 3:8. See if I can still remember these things. The wind blows. Well, I got to look it up. My mind is distracted. I'm not even going to try. It's important, so I want to get this right. Because whatever comes out of my mouth, I trust is the Holy Spirit talking. That's how this kind of works. But this is, there's an honor here. I'm not being funny. This is true. And I don't like talking all weird. And I'm not saying God does talk through me. I'm prayerful that He does and hope. But then it's one of the things in here it says. And this verse, frankly, is a little out of context. I mean, we're talking about a thing, and it's whatever. But here we go. 3:8. The wind blows wherever it pleases. You hear its sound. So that's the part that I'm saying. If what I say seems like that's what God would say, then you can hear it. You can tell. But you cannot tell where it comes from or where it is going. I like that. Just like even today, I was running. I was frustrated. I was talking to Julie and saying, well, I was running at the end, but I was saying with the internet being down, that's what just different things came together. And about a third, maybe a halfway through my run, I said, nope, we're going to shift this because I was going to talk about wet dreams. I mean, I did not. Yesterday I said I wanted to tell you something, and I said, I'll tell you. Well, I will, but now it's going to be tomorrow. But that's the thing. I got it out there. But take every thought captive. This became the way. And then I said, there's lots of things. As I was driving around here, because I tried to get this other free Wi-Fi spot. It didn't work, so I came back to the library. But let's finish this out. You cannot so with everyone born of the Spirit. The wind blows wherever it pleases. You hear its sound. I'm going to try to calm down. So I want to say like 10,000 things in 10 minutes to make, look, if you're, I'm gonna calm down. We're going to get this straight. Okay, can we do that? Can we do that? If you're bored and don't want to listen, then fine. But we got it. I'm gonna take it upon myself to slow myself down, slow this down. I got important. So I think now that I want to say. My name is Beta Rock. That's how I normally start. And together we can change the world. Okay. Yeah. Maybe my friend Julie and I can change the world. This is one. This is the biblical text. The wind blows wherever it pleases. You hear its sound, but you cannot tell where it comes from or where it is going. So it is with everyone born of the Spirit. Okay, and then this is my prayer. Lord, may I be your wind here now. In Jesus' name, amen. And that's a foundational verse to how I've been preaching. Want to keep preaching. We need a new word for the word preach. I don't like the negative connotation that comes with preaching. We're participating. I study, and this is my passion. This is my call. How this shapes down. Am I going to be the king of the world? Is that my call? I got to be clear. I don't feel that was any kind of call. Okay. Do I think I was called at 12 to be? Yes. Do I think that I was knit together in my mother's womb to be this? A pastor, shepherd. Yeah. Okay. This other stuff that's kind of come about, like changing the world and changing divorce, my tattoo and relationships and even what Julie said about controversial. Well, that kind of seems to go with the pastor thing to do it right. But I want to be clear that I can't say that being king of the world is my call. I'm more looking at the terrain and saying, this is what needs to happen. This is what we need to do in this world as an authentic Christian person. Who is authentic Christian out there? See, like what's that guy's name? Bob Magula, Magula, whoever the bully guy. What do you call those trolls? I have mixed feelings for him. I still have a good chunk of love in my heart for the guy, and we'll see how that relationship goes. He was back, he was back in the days of 32 East Baltimore Street. Julie doesn't know anything so much about that. I alluded to it, but I did this before. But back then it was different, mainly everybody just I don't know. It was the same kind of thing, but a little different. I'm more. This is what's happening now. This is my life has shifted. This is the way that it is. To take every thought captive became the final thing. So let's find this verse and let's think about it. When I was really going and saying, how do you say this? Let's read it. Oh, this is what I want to say. Because the other day we went in, I said something that was out. It was kind of out of context. Where was it? See if I can put this thought together. Just every thought captive. Like the other day, I was talking about basically we're all 3-year-olds that are now 45 or however. How old are you? Julie. I won't tell her. I know how old she is, but I won't say that. But so what you fill in the blank. This is like a Mad Lib. What if you're there's Bob Maluga. So we got different forces at work here. I invited one of my lovely lady friends to listen in too. I think she's from a different country. Lots of forces are underway now. But the idea about finish that thought about being 40, a 3-year-old, and now we're 45, or however old we are, the Mad Lib. So we're just now we happen to be older, but three, and I was using that. Knowledge puffs up, but love builds up. And then it went on to say things about, I think that was the thing where the conscience, is that the passage about the conscience? And that if somebody could have food and that in their conscience was the God. And I was like, I'm troubled by this. But then this isn't even so relevant, but to take every thought captive. I'm not going to just read something in there and say it's not, and it doesn't make black and white out of a thing. Because when I was walking back from the police station from their free internet, I was listening to what's his name, John Piper, talk about remarriage and divorce. He has an article about this. Bob, have you read it? It's quite an article. That you really should not get remarried. I mean, unless God controls it. Outside of death, it's sinful. Like, so the idea that sexual immorality passage in Matthew is an escape clause, or what do you call it, an exception? No, he has a way of going through this. So then somebody, and this was just what came up on YouTube. So I was listening to this, and I was like, I don't really like this argument. And I'm not meaning for this to make sense. I mean, you'd have to follow what I'm saying. But basically, in my journey, okay, this was me giving illustration to the idea that I'm going to take every thought captive. And that's what I'm instructing you to do. I was listening to Julie here today. We were going through this. We had kind of set aside Thursday, but then today's one of my days off. So I had some time to process. And so we were getting in a fight earlier this week. And I said, we got to have time to get back on track. Like, we can't do these little back and forth 5-minute little things, because then we end up not being able to finish any real idea, and then it was making her mad. And I said, let's regroup. So today we did this, and then we got, at least in my view, we got kind of over the initial hurdles, and then she was just kind of going through a stream of consciousness. That idea of taking every thought. I'm thinking about everything, and then when I think about this, and I think about this, and I was right there with her. And I thought, this is super, super, super good. Taking every thought captive. We're not denying that our mind processes all of this stuff. And it does not make sense out of the gate. I need somebody to talk to about it, or just give it, or even to me. But to jump past all that and to not honor each individual thought, and just around this whole idea, see if I can, yeah, we should take every thought, not to discount it. I was good. How do you think? I'm going to read what Bob says here in a second, right after I think about this thought. But that every single thing that we think about needs to have a place of honor. We have to have a place of honor for every single thought. And that was encouraging to me to think about the other day, where basically that was the thing. I read through the thing. I even acknowledged it was kind of out of context. Of course, I didn't like that. I didn't like that I was preaching something that wasn't in context. But then here it came back again, and I'm like, okay, there is something here that I could probably learn from now. Into what I say, this mixing bowl. You got to see my fingers. I do this, but I got, because this is like, these are the mixers, and I work at a place that mixes stuff too, big stuff. So you put all this stuff in there, your thoughts. Oh, really kind of meditate on this stuff and turn it over and turn it over, expecting popping answers that are all clear and good. No, life does not work like that. And when I preach like I do every single day, where I think you're getting more of a feel for that. The common pastor has some kind of nice polished message that you get every Sunday, and there's no real gaping things. But that's not true to life. I'm enjoying this process of me being humble to sometimes it just didn't quite work out right. But we're smart enough as humans to, I think, go with this. It's okay, because that's what we experience. Different times with different people that I've talked to, there's definitely a common notion that, like, I do think a lot. So when we go about life and everybody, you open the USA Today and everybody's talking about the coronavirus, and so we think that people are thinking about this, but no, like, we're thinking about lots more interesting stuff than the coronavirus. I mean, that's one of the things in there, but not really. Like I said to Julie, I said, this is a B conversation. That's what I said about the coronavirus. Coronavirus is a B level. Okay, so D level conversations. This is just what's coming out. I hope makes sense. In intimacy, okay, that's where this is kind of going. I said I invited a lovely lady to listen, and Julie's my best friend, and we're talking about this, and it, D conversation. And I took time today to look back on something I think I might have first read when I was in 7th grade psychology or 8th grade in high school, about the levels of intimacy, like the weather. I remember the weather was definitely one of the first things. Fine. So we're putting that down in the D category. A D. Like Julie's from the UK, so I was like, I think we're clear now. Like in the US, we have A grade, B, C, D. They do this in the UK. You don't have a different system. I mean, I think she said yes. I'm not still quite sure. I want to be clear. A is good. A is wet dreams. Okay, when we're talking about sex, politics, I mean, coronavirus, though, is a B. Okay, but it's not an A. And C, B is what I put work. So we're talking about this. But what I'm saying here is that where this is kind of going is that the lovely ladies fit into a category inside of 12 people. And then as I was thinking, you know what, when I was running, this is where I'm going to get to you, Bob. This is a lot of what Beta Rock Church does. What my passion about is to have 12 good friends. Okay, a mix of women, and either way, So if you're a girl, this is global. So everybody has 12. This is the ideal. The ideal. Pastor Johnny said that there was somebody that said to him that if you die and have 5 good friends, that's like a treasure. So that did not compel me to being wonderful. I mean, I don't think I had any friends at the time. Julie, uh, but okay, fine. Let's do better than this. I mean, isn't that ridiculous to live a whole life and then end up with 5 good friends? Can we not do better than this? 12? I mean, when I really think about the level of involvement, then the Jesus' disciples and things. So this is why I invited a lovely lady, and this is why we're talking. And even to the point of this article here, where I put it on Facebook. If you want to, I'll email it to you. Betarock.com, cell phone 717-660-6754. Message me on Facebook. That's how you can. I'll email it to you. The article, 2 articles I read about, and this was kind of it. The 5 levels, and I don't know them well enough, but level 1A wasn't having sex. Okay, like, I want to be clear here that intimacy, and I might play this song by Ed Sheeran because I think I could dedicate it to Julie, and it's like a love song, but we'll see how it goes. But that's what I'm saying. I don't like the framework. When I'm Beta Rock and saying I want to be the president of the United States, except that I'm not going to be president, I'm going to be king, and this kind of stuff, it's because I'm just done thinking that the way that we do stuff makes any sense. The ideal way that world cultism preaches intimacy is that you have a spouse, and then all your eggs, it's just There's something better than this, is some of the fundamental thinking that I'm done. But then we've got to train people. Like, look, I'm saying that like in the lovely lady category, I think there should be 3 of these. So if you're a lady, you could I don't know, what do you want to call them, handsome? I don't know, but we should this is good. We need to have, and that is a category. It's a category. So I want to talk into this, and this is where my mind's going, taking every thought captive. We'll talk about that, but I'm going to turn now and give my attention to Bob. What's he got to say? All right, so I did discover with chats, and this is good because I can see it, but I think if it, depending on which device you have, so I'm going to read what he says because you might not be able to see what he says. So Bob Maluga, I'm not a bully. Well, thanks, Bob, for your opinion. I think you are. Bob Maluga, your thoughts are all, yes, they are definitely all over the place. I said that. We can slow down. Didn't you get remarried before? Yes. Number 4, this makes no sense, and honestly, it's disgusting. What's disgusting? Are you still with me, Bob? What is disgusting? See, Bob, if he's going to really be a helpful participant, dead air is not good for these kind of purposes. All right, so he's getting faster. How can you call someone your best friend who lives in another country and that you have never met? That's super creepy. Why is that creepy? And I'm sure she doesn't think of you as her best friend. Well, she has a 9.9 marriage, Bob, and that's just something to say. So these words, I mean, what does she say? We talk. She says I'm her true friend. That's what we were talking about. Because even with our language, like you say love, and that's why I say at Beta Rock we need to make some different words. Because how do we say these words? Okay, so I'm sure she doesn't think of you as her best friend. Well, she says I'm her true friend. I don't know. I think outside of her husband, she said that I'm next. Okay. And I said again, 9.9. I think it's astonishing. So we'll see if Bob has anything else to say. But in my own mind, I talk to people about, and here we go, finally now talking about Julie. You know, the movie, the Postman, is that what it's called, with Kevin Costner? It's a super old movie. But like the world gets turned upside down, and then I remember I know for sure that the guy that leads like the bad people in that movie was like was a what do you call it, a Xerox copy repairman. So here he was doing this meaningless job, and then now all of a sudden he's like leading the bad guys. Like, so maybe I'm just going with it. Calvin, and I'm just moving. So I breathed out a little bit into Julie. Like maybe this is just our destiny, that we're going to change the world. I was thinking about this running. Bob, you've been critical of me for not having any members. Well, that's true. And then I'm thinking, well, Julie then is the person that has listened most carefully and participated in the process, as I would think a Beta Rock Church member would. Okay. And that is simply the story. Okay, it doesn't mean that it's going to work out, but then this is what I was thinking when I was running. Let's say that she joins. And then now, like after, and then, so then that becomes the first evidence. Most people are chicken, they don't have the courage. And it's not to say that Julie's like bursting with courage. I mean, our relationship has been probably 2.5 or 3, let me think, May 15th. So like 2 months. I think that's all that it's, yeah, two months. That's not that long. What I am dedicated to is making disciples that are strong. So this is just kind of what I would expect. So then when it starts to become 32 million, like I think the divisions, I'm looking over here at you, Bob, because your text is over here. then people can be like, okay, well, we're paying attention a little bit, and now we got a real person. Okay, we got a real person named Julie, and we could email her, we could talk to her, we can find out what it's like to do this. I mean, I have no idea. I have an agenda to do disciples. I have an agenda to do everything that I want to do or feel is what God would want me to do as a pastor. And here we are. So I'm definitely, Bob, not trying to get 32 million members. I'm trying to get one sheep, and however that goes. I don't know what that's going to look like. Again, the stream of consciousness. Julie said, "What do you want me to call you?" This is probably from 2 weeks ago. Why hasn't she joined yet? I don't know. We could ask her. I think because she wants to. This is maybe Julie will have to participate. It's 5 hours ahead in the UK, so that's like, what is it, 1 o'clock or 11? Yeah. So it's about her bedtime. I think that she hasn't joined yet because she wants to kind of sort all this stuff out. She needs to do some thinking, and that's another thing I was thinking, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. We're going to take time to discover what this feels like. And as it works for her, it might not work for you, Bob, or it might not work for everybody else. I mainly want to cultivate a depth, absolute depth. That's why I like to tell the truth. That's why I like to be authentic in who I am, because I don't know that there really is a formula. I mean, the more that I continue to process all these things, I like it when John MacArthur, the way that he talks in lordship salvation, and people want to be assured. They want to be assured. They want to be assured. And I'm just saying, I don't see it that way. There's an engagement here that getting a hold of somebody's heart isn't even our job. I mean, I don't know. What else, Bob? You got something else? Why hasn't she joined? I think it's because she's still processing things and sorting stuff out. Even today in our conversation, she was still bringing up some other real issues. So I could push her, like, and I don't, but I could push her, come on, just let's, at church, isn't what they happen. Let's hang on, Bob. This is what happens. So you might, so like in Sunday school, so the teacher who is desperately trying to make herself feel good, that's leading the Sunday school class, will have a sinner's prayer and put pictures of scary hell up there, and all the kids raise their hand, and so now, okay, they're in. Okay, yay, we can tell the pastor and the church board, and we got 3 more kids that were converted to Jesus this week, and the kids are like, I just didn't want to go to hell, or they're not in very much depth. Then they have a baptism class, and before you know it, poof, you're in the church. But did you really engage with anything of any depth that means anything, that when push comes to shove, that you're going to have any backbone to support it? No, this is not how I am not going to do that. I'm going to participate with people and cultivate a strength that they can stand on their own 2 feet on the rock of Matthew 7:24 and 25, all on their own, because she has not bought into your crap. Well, see, Bob, that's crazy. That's why you're a bully and I don't like you, because you say stuff like that just makes no sense. What part of what I'm saying is crap? We'll entertain you. I said we'll give you 40 years, Bob. But that comment is not going to get you into my good graces. So while you're thinking about that, I'm going to talk to the lovely ladies. I'm disappointed. Okay. I thought that the man was supposed to be the shallow person without emotion, and the women were gushing with tears and emotion and emotion and emotion and emotion. My experience has been that the women cannot talk. Okay, Julie's good. Okay, but that I get a little that this pressure of lovely. Okay, this is me. Well, yeah. But see, that's why we got to talk, because this is not, Julie. Look, I don't care if it's a man. I don't care if it's a lady. There's a level here of simple intimacy that people want to be fully known and fully loved. That is the guiding idea. How this loveliness fits into this, I'm not totally sure. But we should try it out. I say things like we should write books into this area, because of different things that don't feel totally compelled to get into today. But I've said to all the love, look, I'm not trying to, get in your pants, or you're not trying. I'm not what is always Julie said the other day, predator, like she was being mean. Okay. But look, none of this. I want to experience for myself. This is what I thought about running. So I'm talking about it a little bit now. I'm a person. Okay? I'm a pastor born this way, but I've got feelings too. I need social. The 8 dimensions of wellness, one of them is social. Okay, so I personally need. Word need is important, but everything is secondary to God and Him being first. That's very important. So I don't need a woman. I don't need relationship. Okay, we gotta be kind of straight here. But when we get into this, it's an enjoyable thing. It's pleasure. There's such depth of goodness here. And then I've thought, even however this is going to go, really, then at the end of the day, I think at the end of the day, my heart is still thinking pastorship. Because if we all have 12 friends and then, oh, we got a 13, Bob wants to be my friend now, he's number 13. Well, then we got to shift this stuff around and how we might do this. So the thing then becomes, that's how the Beta Rock Church, at least in my idea, the vision goes, is that's how we grow. We're not rushing. We're making that kind of a relationship where we, like today with my the semblance of a group of friends. I'm telling them about my budget. There's nothing that's very personal. I'd say that's B plus. I'm still not giving it an A in terms of things that are meaningful, but I send them my flat out budget. I mean, this is what guides my life, and I'm frustrated here. I can't afford the internet. I can, but to do it right, which I was happy about, but I want to be able to talk to people that love me, okay, or care, and then we can still fight or however it's going to go. But I definitely don't want to go to church. I'm not. I'm done with the way I've gone to church, but I don't want to go to church and sit down and sing songs and talk about it, not even talk, listen to somebody that's talking about something that but I want to be engaged. We need to have a way in life to talk about these things that matter. Okay, okay, so Bob, you still haven't said anything. This week with another one of my lovely ladies, and I've decided, I'll say this too, that there might be 5 or 6 of these ladies that I kind of have picked in my mind as being what I'm saying are the lovely people. This would be somebody that if I would be at work, I would be like, I'm proud that this one here is one of mine. This is a prize. I mean, this is the words. He might get mad or whatever, but I'm teaching. When you're a leader, I was thinking about this, getting a shower. And I've said it before, but I'll say it again. To be a leader doesn't mean that I'm looking around and asking what other people think. I'm doing it, and then we decide what this is like. So we're doing something new. So we don't know, but what does it feel like in this process? We got to talk. So this one lady that I was talking with, I did get the sense that she had a number of friends. Like there was a semblance of what I was saying in her life. So I messaged, and yep, she gave me back different things, and we talked about that. Right. Right, right. Okay. We aren't there, buddy. About what? About being your 13th friend, I bet is what you mean. Right. Okay. Yeah, well, Bob, we might be together for 40 years. Do you want to change the world, Bob? Once we get past whatever pissed off, panty wadded nonsense you got going on in yourself, maybe that day will come. I don't know. I don't really know. What else do we got? So Bob is a little distracting, but we're handling him. So I'm going to shift back to the every thought captive. So this was the frustrating part, but at least to myself, and as I'm talking this through, I would like to be able to talk to more people than just Julie, okay? Because then there's just one person. And I'd like them to be some lovelies. What does that feel like? I just want to experience it. I do think that there is something special about lovely people, whatever the kind of people that you would want to be married to, or the people that you would date. They do fit into a special category. Definitely like my male friends. I mean, they're not going to be in that kind of a category. Another thought, this is definitely all over the place. This is just what's coming out. Enjoy your lady's weirdo. Bob, again, like, why is that weird? Do you have any? Are you married, Bob? Do you want to say anything of any relevance that's helpful to the conversation? I could get into the theories. I'm trying to breathe life mainly into the idea that there's levels of intimacy. That article, I think I did pull it up. Let's maybe I can. I don't know where to go with this. I'm a little frustrated. 5 levels of intimacy. Hopefully this thing pulls up here. Okay. First comes love or sex. Okay, so they're right into it, and then they go into all these things that have 5 levels of intimacy. Let's see, level one. Level one is the lowest level of communication. We call it safe because it involves the exchange of facts and information. There are no feelings, opinions, or personal vulnerability involved, and therefore no risk of rejection. Okay, so fine, we could keep reading about that, but that's D. Okay, level two, others' opinions others' opinions and beliefs. At level 2, we start sharing other people's thoughts, beliefs, and opinions. Okay? We are beginning to reveal more of ourselves through our associations. Fine. That sounds like C. Okay. Level 3, personal opinions and beliefs. We start taking small risks at this level because we begin to share our own thoughts, opinions, and beliefs. Okay. Level 4. How many levels? There are 5. Level 4. Sharing feelings and experiences is the next level of vulnerability and intimacy. At this level, we talk about our joys, pains, and failures, our mistakes in the past, our dreams, and our goals. Okay, I started to like that better. What we like or don't like, and what makes us who we are. Listen, okay. Really, this is ironic. I think of this conversation, I said it, but this came from a man, okay, where I'm like, that's it right there. What just happened here is the kind of relationship that I want to have. Okay, imagine having it with a lovely lady, or okay, but imagine that being the kind of thing that marriage should hold. I mean, I can't say things so clearly, but I'm just telling you that the truth of my testimony here is that the image that, and this wasn't necessarily the first time, but when I look back on this, basically it was a man, okay, so that's important. Like that this intimacy is not gender. So when I say lovely, yes, that's a category here that I'm interested in, but not really. Okay, and I'm not joking when I'm saying that it's not really. I want other people to experience this. It makes me think of One Tree Hill. My thoughts are scattered, but who cares? Okay, it's my show. But I do want to communicate well. But One Tree Hill was so instructional. That was back in the 32 East Baltimore Street days. That was like, what, 12 seasons of teenage drama, but it was all relational. And most of the actors were very pretty. And so when I was watching, and it's a show, I know, but like they have feelings too. This doesn't, and all that. There's so much here, so much here. I can't even say it all. That's why I want to give you a little taste so you can be like, okay, I heard that, and maybe that can be something you latch onto and talk to me. Let's change. My name is Beta Rock, and together we can change the world. What I definitely believe is that people experience pain. I'm a pastor, and I want to help people in their pain. And when we're failing here because we don't even have a language or a process or a structure that works. We have an effed up system from the church to the state. And so I'm trying to breathe life into ways that make sense. Okay. Here, then, because our system is broken, here's the experience that I had with this guy that had to be at a retreat in a totally safe environment. Safe is a bad word here, because but he was a pastor. I think he was in his 40s, probably a pastor for 20 years, a good, gifted thinker, pretty good pastor. He was a pretty good preacher, I would say. But he had some kind of a sexual, I can't remember his story, but what was so instructional is that the assignment for the group of us that were sitting around, like these 12-step things, that's where this is, you probably might have some association with this, because that is partly good to be in a small group, to talk to each other, to talk. What is your story? What is your story? Oh, this is the good stuff. Oh, and that was the assignment. Okay, there's how many? 5 or 6 guys. I mean, we don't have forever. I mean, we did kind of, but so basically, try to say your whole life story in 15 minutes. So, being the good guy that this guy was, because he had learned, let's whenever the teacher tells you to do something, just do it. Well, he did it. And in 15 minutes, he just laid it out there. It was like he took his entire backpack and he just plopped it on. We were on a picnic table, and we're like, wow, like, I really believe that you told me the things about your life that mattered. I mean, wow, I don't know whether to cry or clap in affirmation. It was kind of both of the, and then the look in his eyes, like, I remember that. That felt so good. That felt so shitty. That felt so good. And then, by the way, like he said that just like, I've never told anybody this stuff. But I could feel like that gunk was inside of his heart, polluting, taking every thought captive, like in every thought and 30,000 decisions a day for 40 some years of his life, or however long it was, just infiltrating, was just gunked up into this thing that took 15 minutes to talk about. 15 minutes. 15 minutes. And then we hugged. I mean, I think of that back to when the Bible says about giving our brothers a holy kiss. Wouldn't that be something, Bob? Are you still listening? For me to holy kiss Bob Maluga, for us to have taken this relationship of bully Bob to that we essentially come together on God's good ground and work it out to the point that, wow, look at how that was supposed to feel. That is what God had in mind for how relationships should be. Okay? How it should be. Another thing that comes to mind to say here too is with the 8 dimensions of wellness. Physical is one of them. That's why I'm not really ashamed to talk about these lovely ladies. Like, can I say this again? Just all these thoughts that are scattered, and I don't know how they're coming out. They make sense to me. Some I don't know, but this idea that Paul says it's better for a man not to be married. This is how I was thinking about this, and I'm not sure. Like, Allah forbid me to get remarried now. Okay, you too, Bob, and anybody that's in, death do us part. That's what John Piper has Greek words to explain this, okay? And we live in a broken system that's full of bastard pastors that don't tell the truth, or they just don't do it right. So we're all broken because of sin here. Okay, so now where I've read John Piper's holy good article and I'm done. So Allah forbids this. So what does this leave? I can't do that. I can't do sex. I can't do cohabitation and the different things that are involved in traditional ways of intimacy. So I'm saying God wouldn't possibly have humans, okay, incapable of wholeness. Happiness is close to this, but a wholeness, that there's got to be something here. So I've been thinking about this, but see if I can say this. When Paul is saying this, it's better for a man. So that if you have 3 lovely ladies, I mean, can you start? I don't know. I'm going to try to breathe into this, see how it feels, see what you think. But look at that. Jesus did this. You got Mary Magdalene. You got, if they're all the same Mary Magdalene, which is kind of one of my hopes. Okay, but let's go with the idea that there are a bunch of different women that God touched so closely. For him to say, "Look, this is better. Do you not see here? Look at these lovely ladies." No. Why would I want to? I don't know. A little. It's better for a man not. It's not just something to sacrifice, but it's actually better. Okay, it's actually better. I gotta have people talk about this. All right, so Bob seems to be done. That's kind of what I wanted to say, but now we can just go through the train of today. Taking every thought captive. I seem to be able, how many have I done of these now? 2 or 2? I don't know. Quite a number. And I'm always to this passionate point when I get around to doing it. There hasn't been really much of any day where I don't feel relatively passionate about what I've been talking about. So thank God that happened again today. But that can be an act. Like, I think about the pastor that was my pastor. And if he strummed hard enough on his guitar, then we were going to have joy in that service. I mean, no matter what, he was just going to strum. And we could depend on the strum, and he was going to strum and strum and strum. And hell or high water, we were going to strum into happiness. Like, that's not how emotion works. Okay, we feel what we feel. And it wasn't working for me today. My internet was down and these different problems. So take every thought captive. I don't want to dishonor the feeling that I was having. And I want to preach into this, to give life into these areas where we're loved and cared for, to take every thought captive. Don't let that go. Okay. What are you feeling? How are you doing? This comes up in this came up in the work that I did at the Caron Foundation. How to literally pay attention. I mean, they were Eastern people that didn't have it right in the deep sense, but to what do you call that? Being present was their word. That's a popular world cultism word, but I like it. Okay, Take a minute and think about your head. Take a minute and think about your heart. What's going, like, feel, not even just what's happening. Okay, to honor these places, and that's a good idea here. This is why I'm not against it, because I think there's biblical truth to what they're saying. To take every thought captive. Right now I'm feeling bad, or right now I'm feeling pissed, or right now I'm upset about my budget, or what. I mean, that's my story. But to Bob, to be able to articulate that, to give it to God, to not just scoot past it and move on to happy. Happy, we got to put our face back on, and happy, that the happy face that world cultism darn near demands. And it sucks the living life out of people. Everyone, a former desired lovely lady, when I first talked to her, that got her attention. Okay, she posted something, and I was like, that had authenticity in it. That had authenticity in it, and I wrote her about it, and boom, I was on. And then it didn't work. Okay, and I'm prayerful to all these, every single person I touch, I wonder. Okay, I mean, not touch, but interact with. But I was right here. This is, again, where this is so frustrating. How can I'm not wrong here. But then when we dive into this, then we're still retreating. I refuse to believe that people don't want to go to these levels of intimacy. I won't believe that. How to cultivate this, how to do this inside a world cultism that just does not know what they're doing. That does not know what they're doing. Take every thought captive. But her comment, why I said all that about her, was she said, I can't do it, the mask. She didn't say it like this in the mask idea, but that was it. I can't do it. Eventually, I get tired of the zombie, and I have to say something real. God, imagine a life where we do that every moment of every day. 36,000 or 30,000 or 35,000 decisions a day, filtered on the Matthew 7:24 rock of God, safe and sound, a comforting home, where we're loved and cared for by the omnipotent one. That's our base. And from that point, we can reach out to Bob Maluga and Julie and the different people that we touch. I really want to sing Julie this song. We got 42 minutes. We're going to do it later. Every thought captive. To honor that. Spend time with God. Give it. And make it, that's the rest of that verse, and make it obedient to Christ, right? I mean, to not dishonor. What are you telling me, God, here in this? Why am I feeling this? Not to push it down, but to put it there. And that's the imagery. I'm good with that. I mean, it is Holy Bible good, but I feel that. Why is this, Bob? Why are you resentful towards me? What is wrong with you? Can you breathe words into that? And make it obedient to Christ. Another thought here is that it was like, here it is the thought. Yeah, just like that. I mean, one of the things, you can't, Julie's mad at me, and one of the ways is because I'm always talking about lovely ladies, and then it's upsetting her. She was like, I'm bored of this and tired of it and different things. Agreed. I mean, I okay. But I think in the sense of that verse, how I would have thought about it until I'm thinking about it recently, or however. Like, we have to discount feeling. Okay, to be right, we can't do things. And I'm thinking, no, there's a way here to think about every situation, and take it and think about it. That God means for us to be happy and whole, even when He tells us no, okay? Or when we don't quite get something, and that we don't need to fight this. We can just take it captive and put it in our mixing bowl and give it time. Give it time to stir its way through. Find this place where you're left with an aha moment. That's what God had in mind. I mean, right now, my biggest prayer, frustration, is a Mark 11 prayer that I prayed that might take a year. I don't know. A relationship that I prayed it. I can't take it back. The Bible says it. Fine. I'm gonna just keep it there, captive. I'm not giving up my faith into it. I'm not going to find some reason to. I mean, even Charles Stanley was like, you can think about all these reasons why your prayers aren't answered. In this case, I'm just resting in the fact that it was a genuine prayer, and I'm going to trust God to death with it. Okay? The process of this, to trust God. Like I'm saying with that thing about marriage, it's better for a man not to touch a woman, better. And everybody might think, I mean, even John MacArthur's like, that was a hyperbole. That sounds too close to Super Bowl. Like hyperbole, I think is how I would have known the word. Like he was kind of kidding. I don't buy that. So why is that? Just like I'm saying, look at these ladies. I mean, for me to go to work, that's my relationship now. We're gonna be done after this irrelevant kind of story, but just to say how I talk, with my one friend at work, I said to him, I was saying about my three lovely ladies, and I talk about this, and so then yesterday, because he's in world cultism, he was kind of like, he was like, I just got one. I mean, I don't even have a single one. Okay, so that's the truth. But just the language, I like his eyes. He likes me too. But it was just funny that, like, he had to clarify. Like, I don't know what kind of planet you're from or whatever. I mean, it wasn't like that. But I just have one. And so we're breathing life into this. Imagine what that would be like. This is what Jesus had in mind. You can have three. Oh, not like you're doing. And now but we got to talk here. Julie breaks up with me. We'll go back to Julie, and then maybe we'll be done. Even I think maybe yesterday or the day before, one of the most distinctive part of Julie's relationship is that, to me, and I tell people, she's broken up with me. At one point, it was 6 times. Like, she my bet, but she'll break up with me tomorrow. And each one is genuine. I get the email or whatever, and I'm like, okay, it's not email, it's messages on Facebook. Oh, that might be it. I mean, like, but I think that really down to the depth of intimacy, if we're not fighting, if we're not in conflict is definitely amaterial. So at some level, it's a mark of progress. It's a mark of health. What do I say? Maybe we'll go here too. This is for Julie now a little bit, and for other people. Like Julie said, what should I call you? I mean, this is what we were saying. This was a couple weeks ago. And she was like, my shepherd, and I don't know if she said my Lord, but I was thinking about the Lord thing, because it just in what I'm doing here, to be king. I mean, I'm trying myself, and actually my prayerfulness, okay, is to really own this, okay. Julie's husband, who I don't know him, but I was really thinking, well, this is when 2/3 of the way done with my run. I'm like, I want to kind of that's where I want this to go. I want people, and my Julius Caesar, when I talk, people march, go to San Diego, sell all you have and give to the poor. And people don't just do that there's going to be a lording going on here. Holy good. Breathing into this. And I was thinking about this. Julie's husband, for me to engage in him and different things that are happening, other relationships, to be the Lord. I mean, the lowercase Lord, to be king, the lowercase king, to really do what I'm saying. Again, we just have a real life story. Julie's the first, maybe. Okay. First person I ever had in township. That's a game when we met. They quit after. And that wasn't like with Julie, but I'm just saying, like, we don't know what God's going to do, what God has in mind. That's the unfortunate part about being human. But to breathe into the idea that we can change the world, that's fun. And then to get a glimpse of what it's like to have our feet in San Diego Beach, okay, doing this. Like, we sold it all, and here we are. And come to think of it, look around here. Here's my hubby. I mean, he's over there talking to some hot girl, like, because that's what's gonna happen. Maybe, like, And then hubby, just till we'll know each other. Okay. And it's all good. We did it. We're honoring God. When Peter cries back to Jesus, we did it. What more do you want from us? Nothing. You're doing it. If you love me, you're going to obey my commands. And then people like you, dumb Bob, the dummies, the bastard pastors. I mean, are they really bastard pastors? Maybe the Star Wars analogy will become true, where at the end, all those ships come. Like, oh, okay, well, the bastard pastors just needed to have Beta Rock breathe truth into their pitiful lives. This is how to do it. Yes, you were 3 and now you're 50, and you're a terrible bastard pastor. But when you finally saw the light, oh, so that's what happened. So what you're telling me is that Matthew 6:33 is actually real. Yep. Do you want to come over here, you bastard pastor, and put your feet in the sandy land of San Diego? I mean, not the Matthew 7:24 or 26 and 27, but the sand real. Okay. You feel this sand here of how good this feels? Oh, yeah, I think I do. Okay, well, good. You're invited. Oh, so this is what it's like to be a beta rock. Thank you for Julie to have the courage to do all this. I said to her, every once in a while I do just calm. I'm pretty much always calm, but in this, I'm going to talk into this conflict. I said to her, I'm like no friend that you've ever had. I'm just, what I'm doing, nobody does. And she agreed with that. Okay, well, then let you own that too, Julie. And what are we going to do here? What are we going to do? God, what are you going to have us do? So interesting. That's where I want to go. It's Beta Rock ministry, but it's Beta Rock on God. Okay, and that's it. And so that has consequences. I am leading a world. Okay, a world under God, a world under God, because no one. Okay, this isn't funny words. It's God and me, and that's it. Nobody is able to talk into this terrain because they're all stuck in some form of world cultism or idol worship. That's what I think. That's what I see. From relationships to how we do things to how we do church, we're just crushing it all down and we're saying, God, what will you have us do? Today, really, at the end, again, this is just proof in the pudding of how I see it. Julie's asking her stream of consciousness 75 different, not 75, but a bunch of different things. Fine, you look it up. You look it up. This is not, you have a relationship with God too. This is a dynamic. This is a dynamic. What's God going to do in your life? Okay. And I'm saying it to Julie, but that then becomes the call to anybody, to the lovely lady. Like, look at what's happening with Julie. You want to find out what it's like to be in relationship with me? Ask Julie. Okay. And what that can do, what that can do. I got side interest of changing divorce. That's a huge topic that affects billions. So it's important. But primary is simply, you have all of me, God. What more do you want from? What do you want? What are we going to do today? What are we going to do today? Today for me, that meant working on my budget. That meant sorting out things in my head about priorities. It meant talking honestly about it. Lots of good things. Staying true to a principle, not caring about what anybody might think about I don't know. Deciding to talk about wet dreams. I did not want to talk about that. It's out there. I am an A material pastor. Always. Thank God. Okay. God and his wisdom. I don't like it. I, I don't know. We'll see. To take relationships. So that's where Julie and I were kind of leaving off our conversation. What are we going to do about sex in the world? All right. Well, let's. I want to take a couple real people. I don't want to write books about it. I want to talk about. Put me in relationship with some of these people. Let's find out what they got going on. Talk to them. Find out. Shepherd into this. My name is Beta Rock, and together we can change the world. You want in, Bob? My name is Beta Rock, and together we can change the world. My lovely ladies, my name is Beta Rock, and together we can change the world. And show people how to do this right. The proof on the pudding with relationships is the utter destruction that we have. A $5 billion porn industry, men that are demasculated, whatever the word is, 50% divorce. It ain't working. Fundamentally broken. I am simply Jeremiah, a prophet saying, repent and change. Give your life to God. A forgiving God, a loving God that hates sin. All right. Are you ready to make the God of the Holy Bible, not God, okay, God, the God, Jesus, Yahweh, and friends, the Holy Spirit, the Holy Bible God, more to your life, full surrender, all to Jesus I surrender, all to him I freely, I like that word, that's a special word that's been mulling in my mind, freely, I'm not doing this under duress, freely. To answer your question, Bob, why hasn't she joined yet? Freely give. Free. That's another wonder. Freely. I'm not going to put pressure. Freely give. We got to work this out. We'll take time. I trust God. It's God anyway. John 6:44. It's God. Freely give. I will ever love and trust in his presence, daily live. And we're going to daily presence in San Diego. Thank you. All right. He didn't call us to pitiful. He didn't call us to sad. Matthew 6:33. Seek first God and get all these things too. Okay, does that mean lovely ladies? If you're a lovely lady, does that mean handsome men or whatever? Think of a word for me. I like my lovely ladies. The lovely ladies, that's good. What do we want to call that about your men? You know, what do you want to call? What's a term? I need help here. Do people have pain? Oh, absolutely. Can we do better here? Yes. Is our system broken? Yes. All right. Let's pray. God, help us. Help us. Help to take all this that came out to get assembled into people's minds that makes sense. Help people to have the courage to be one of my lovely ladies, to take my hand in a process, okay, and talk about how this feels. How's it feel? To have those visions, talk into these visions. Oh, wait, you mean I could be the queen? Maybe if we like each other just like normal people. Julian model. If we ain't broken up, we're not doing it right. Trusting in God. I think God likes that. Okay. What do you think? Help us here. Reveal the path. Give us strength. I got to figure out how to turn it off again. There's a little trouble with my Bible as the mouse pad. In Jesus' name, are we okay? I'm around. Message me on Facebook. In Jesus' name, amen.